Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is The Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you'd like to see, remember that like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2019, episode number 56. It's postseason time, so we're heading into this. Really excited about where we're at. We are definitely going to be in the tournament. But first off, we've got the conference playoffs. And after a 10-6 season, we were in that best of the rest. Outside of the group who got the first round bye, the 4 teams there, we were 5th place in the conference. So we go up against the last team that was not relegated. Had the same record as one of the relegated teams. They just got a tiebreaker. So Michigan State, 12-15 overall, is up first after we had a 23-6 regular season. Our team 59 prestige is on the line as we go forward into this. I have a feeling we should be boosting up into the 60s, but it will depend. If we lose our next 2 games and get knocked out of both postseason tournaments immediately, well, probably not. So we've got to get at least a win or 2 here as we move forward. But we start with some emails. Michigan State, again, who we play. We've got a 75% chance of winning that. And the only place that we were outmatched is that small forward where we have, believe it or not, a walk-on player playing at small forward. And a first-year walk-on, nonetheless. Players declaring for the draft. Good news. Nobody declaring. And the final 10. North Carolina State player, Wake Forest players, so Conference B or C players going first. St. John's, Oklahoma, Florida. James Brown there on top. So a lot of non-Conference A players getting into the Final 10 for the Norton Award. And I suppose that's entirely possible coming down to our conference just being so good, so elite, where everybody beats the snot out of each other. And that includes the players. Brings their numbers down. It's more difficult to really shine, at least to an extent. Now, my intention on the upcoming games, the conference tournament, as we finished 5th in the conference. We're moving up. We're going in the right direction. We're not 8th. We're not 7th. 5th in the conference is good. But also, we are at a point where the top 4 especially are still out of reach. Michigan State, team we should beat. That following round, the number 4 team, let's see, is that what? Nevada, Miami, whichever one of them it is. Duke, even. Duke really dropped down the rankings quick. Oh no, they're 3rd. It's going to be super tough to beat whichever team we get. Well, it's possible. But my intention is only if we get to the final of the conference tournament will I show the games. New email. What's up? What's up? Okay, fine. Show me the Michigan State scouting report again. Should be the same. Shouldn't have changed. Yeah, 75%. No injuries or anything like that. So good. There you go. Let's get back to it. So these games I'm not going to show live. We're going to focus more on the NCAA tournament. That national championship matters a lot more to me. The 4 home teams all ranked. The 4 visiting teams unranked. The 4 teams that were eliminated, 3 of them unranked. 1 of them, Utah, was actually still a ranked team there at the end of the season. Not ranked now, but they were right before elimination. 24-6, we do get the win. 71-56 over Michigan State. Cincinnati beating Notre Dame. North Carolina beating Maryland. North Carolina outside of the top 4. They did not get a bye. Florida beating Oregon. No surprises there. And now what we have is Miami, who somehow was ahead of North Carolina. That's a tough matchup. All of these. All of these are tough matchups. Miami, let's at least see what we're up against anyway. Definite chance. On the road, 40%. Those are decent odds. Those are decent odds, yeah. Not saying we're going to win, but they're decent odds. So into the second round. And... oh, I think I saw the score, and I think I saw 80-78. Yes. Alrighty, 80-78. Well done, Jim Ross. Double. Masic, just 2 of 7 shooting. Not a great day for him, but otherwise, decent performance by the team. Derek Kennedy. Justin Smith putting in good minutes. 43% from the field. They were 52% from the field. How did we win this game? 42 beyond the arc. That helps. +5 in fouls. 1 in turnovers. +6 in rebounds. So we just kind of edged every other stat line besides the overall field goal percentage. Bobby Granville, 9 for 12. 21 points. But we win by 2. Cincinnati upsetting Duke. Duke, late season collapse here, have not played well. They were 22, well, not 22-2, but they were, 18-2, 17-2, 19-2, something like that. They've lost 5 games out of their last 8, 9, 10. Syracuse finally lost a game. They have won like a dozen straight, and they lose in the second round of the Conference A tournament, their first game of the tournament, and bam, they're out. Nevada beating North Carolina. Cincinnati upsetting Duke. And we get Florida. Okay. We have a chance to actually get to the final. I did know. I won't show it unless it's final, and it looks like Florida heavily favored. Like I said, we might be winning games we shouldn't win here and there, but we are still not quite on level pegging with the top tier teams. We are definitely controlling the mid tier teams now. Top tier teams, yeah, we're not there yet. Maybe next season if Kennedy is good enough. Nope, we're out. We are out. We lose in the semifinal by a score of 63-50. Offense forgot to show up to this one. 16 of 61 from the field. 2 of 16 beyond the arc. 44 rebounds in this game to 43. But 27-18 in fouls. Turnovers were level, so nothing to get us back into it. They were only 30% from the field. They were 15 of 50. We had 11 more attempts. Both teams absolutely horrendous from the field. Defensive showdown. But we come out on the wrong end of it. Nevada beating Cincinnati. And Nevada should be an easy favorite against Florida in the final. But we did at least get to the semifinal. That's not bad. No, Florida wins. So Florida wins the Conference A championship. All the way from number 11 in the rankings. And that takes us into the selection show, the Conference A tournament, the final one to finish up. Now, as the 7 seed and getting to the semifinal of the Conference A tournament, we've got a chance of being a number 2 seed. Could end up being a number 3 seed. We've got a chance at a 2 seed here. I would certainly like a 2 seed because that would give us a chance. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but that gives us a chance at the deepest run that we ever would have had. Whoa, Gonzaga. Really? You've fallen that far? 18-12 and getting in as a play-in game? Syracuse, a 1 seed. Definite surprise. There you go. Number 2 seed in the Greensboro region. Eastern Illinois up first. Okay. North Carolina is here as the 3 seed. Come on. That's who I would have to get through. And Cincinnati. Top 4 seeds. All Conference A teams in this region. Holy cow. That's not fair. That's not fair. Nevada, the 1 seed over here. Yeah, only one Conference A opponent in those top 4 seeds. Oregon, a 10 seed in there, but that was rough. Wake Forest gets a 1 seed, no surprise. Florida up to a 2 seed after winning the Conference A tournament. I could see that. Stanford and Kansas. Duke still gets a 1 seed after all those losses down the stretch. Miami gets 2 seed. Again, I'd rather be in that conference tournament. Our region is insane. Top 4 seeds, all Conference A teams. And North Carolina, who we did beat while they were ranked number 3 in the nation. Yes. It can be done, but we were at home. This time we will not be at home. It's neutral territory. I'm pretty worried about that matchup. And hope that they collapse early. We get a little help along the way because we're going to need it. Our region is by far the most challenging. Not even close. Not even close. Utah in the NIT, after they got relegated, they still made the NIT tournament. Notre Dame didn't get relegated, but we're close to it. They get into the CBI. Not necessarily worried about how either of those 2 teams do, so if we see them again, that means they won their game. Utah won their game. Utah very well could win that tournament, as good as they are, even though they were relegated. Okay, here we go. So, Eastern Illinois. Now, this should be an easy matchup. I'm going to have a little faith in my team, and we're going to push through this game without watching, get a little deeper into the tournament so we can show more content when the games begin to count. Syracuse has St. Francis, North Carolina has New Orleans, and Cincinnati has Seton Hall. That's our first region. Also playing Nevada, hosting Florida Gulf Coast, and Oregon, a 10 seed at 7 seed Georgetown. Suppose I should have looked at the scouting report first, but we can go back and check that after the fact and make sure that we did take care of business. We do. 80-61. Nevada wins. North Carolina just beating New Orleans. Cincinnati beating Seton Hall. Nevada wins their game, and Oregon is out. Scouting report after the fact. Yeah, comfortable. Dominant in every manner. No surprise on that. Performance-wise, quickly here. Jim Ross, 12 points, 17 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks, 3 steals. Just all over that stat line. Though 5 of 12 shooting is not great for a center. Did have 1 3-point attempt, but still. 17 rebounds is crazy. Alright, so we've got Florida against Green Bay, we've got Duke against Hampton, and Miami against Rhode Island. Still first round action. Sorry about all that banging. That's the kids in the daycare down below. Not sure what they're up to, but they are definitely making some noise at the moment. Florida wins their game, Duke wins their game, and Miami. Second round action, and we get Binghamton. They're a 7 seed. 27-5. Pretty solid record there. 27-5. That's a good team. Let's see. 89%. Message, the only one who's on level pegging. We are dominant in every other way. Again, with the... I'm going to have a little faith in my team here. Little faith in my team. Okay, now I know what's going on. I can hear just a little bit of noise downstairs. They're listening to Queen. That's their version of dancing. They're jumping up and down. That's what happens when you get 2 and 3 year olds And one 4-year-old playing. Listening to We Will Rock You. Little stadium anthem for the kids. Most of it's kids' music, but we do have a couple adult songs for them, and that's one of them. One they enjoy. And let's see, will I continue to enjoy this series? Yes. Okay, 85-66, victorious Jim Ross with 28 points. Not as many rebounds today, but he didn't need it when we shot 50% from the field. Game was a little bit closer than that last one for sure, but it was comfortable. 12-point halftime lead. Added 7 more points in the second half. They did have a little bit of a lead, but they never led by more than 2. Syracuse also taking care of business. North Carolina out! Charlotte. That's the next game, right? So I think, yes, it is. So North Carolina knocked off 76-74 by the Charlotte 49ers. I want to see who did well because we will definitely be watching this game. That was a tight game. Back and forth. A lot of lead changes. Joey Slane, player of the game, with 18 points. And let's see here for them. 46% from the field. Joyner, big game off the bench. Joey Slane, 7 of 11 shooting. That was pretty big. 4 of 6 beyond the arc, so he's a definite threat. Not a lot of rebounds for them at all. Just 20 for the game. They were out rebounded 2-1. But they were plus 13 on turnovers. There's your difference. There's your game winners, the turnovers. We'll keep an eye out for that. Cincinnati wins in their game, so they will match up with Syracuse. And then Nevada is knocked out, so we've got 3 out of 4 left, while our other opponents, the other teams with us, are now gone. Miami's still alive, Duke and Florida all still playing. And all 3 are victorious and continue on in the tournament. Utah still live in the NIT, playing Pacific next. Now that they're deep enough, I'll check in, I guess. 90-73. Victors there. And now we'll finally get into watching the games live as we are into the Sweet 16 at this point. So there you go. Syracuse, Cincinnati. That's going to knock off one team. Us and Charlotte. 3 more matchups the following day with Florida, Duke, Miami, all playing. That leaves us with 6 Conference A teams still in the tournament. We're 1 of 6. And it'll be down to no more than 5. Because somebody's got to lose that game. Okay, scouting report. Charlotte in Conference D, 24-8. By the way, the previous games, Binghamton, Conference N, and Eastern Illinois were Conference R. So yes, they were heavily overmatched. Charlotte's a decent team, Conference D, but we are heavily favored for this. So we will try to fly through this next game as we're now, Sweet 16. 4 games at the most left to go here in the season. Ooh, almost forgot. They were ranked, right? Yeah, number 21. So good enough to get ranked. Might be a Conference D winner. And they opened the game with the first bucket, lead 2-0. Also, they've already got us on our first turnover. And they lead 5-0 and have some momentum. Let's not mess with fate here. Try to get back in this game. 7-0 was down enough to use a timeout. We've already started turning things around. Momentum's gone. Can't get the score on that one, though. And we are really struggling early on with 1 for 7 from the field. We trail 10-2. Now 13-2. Finally, we get a bucket. Just our second on 10 attempts. And none of those are threes, by the way. Not one attempt beyond the arc. Meanwhile, they are 3 for 5 beyond the arc to start this game. But we've already cut the lead to 5. as we're starting to get things rolling. We've got a little bit of momentum now, but that foul, that kind of hurts. Takes that momentum away, but we've got a 1-point game. We're back in it, so slow start, but now we're rolling after the first 5-6 minutes. Very much favored them, and we're up to 50% from the field, but so are they. Anybody's game at this point. But after that really, really rough start, we're definitely moving now. +2 in rebounds, +3 in rebounds. -1 in turnovers, though. Got to watch out for that. And it's back to level. 61% from the field. So after that horrible start, we were 2 for 10, mind you. We are now 11 for the last 12. And up 7. And yet they have the momentum. We go 11 for 12, and they make 1 basket, and they've got the momentum. It's tough when we're both in green here. Me down there. Got the score, 5-point lead. Looking at the players individually, Jim Ross already 12 points. Here, 4 minutes shy of halftime. 5 rebounds, halfway to a double-double. Kennedy has 6 points and 3 assists. On 2 of 2 shooting from the field. Ross is 6, well, it was 6 of 10, now 6 of 11, so he's up over 500. The team is still up over 500. They're down to 38%. 5 fouls to 2. That's one thing that's hurting us. We've cut down their shooting after a 3 for 5 start. They've gone cold since 4 of 16. That's a lot of shots before the half. We still have no, we already used our timeout. Let's go ahead and save that for second half. And we go into halftime with a slender 36-34 lead. After that slow start, we went on a hefty run to pull out ahead, but then they fight back, they claw back, and we've got a close game entering the second half. Rebounds +4, turnovers -3. That is a factor. Field goal right back at 50%. They're at 40%, so there's easy comparison. 0 for 5 beyond the arc. We just made our first 3 of the game, and after their quick start, right, they were 3 for 5. They went 2 for the last 13 beyond the arc, so now 2-14 cents. So hopefully we can hold that back, but no, they just scored 1, and we just got our second. So a little back and forth, but a little bit of a lead building. 9 points now. Morrison's already also himself just into double digits with 11. 3 assists. Smith has 3 assists. Ross on the bench right now with 3 fouls. Comes back in. Dangerous time for him. And he immediately goes out with 4 fouls. He comes into the game, and the first play gets called for a foul. That could be crucial going forward because he is our leading scorer with 16. And he will be sorely missed for quite a while here. 12 minutes to go. It's a 13-point lead, though. We are slowly building that up. If they build any more momentum, I'm going to want to use the timeout sooner rather than later. Turnovers are level at 10 now. Rebounds only +3, so we're not dominating that the way North Carolina did. But a 13-point lead is looking pretty good. Ross still has not played. Stat line is the same. Turnovers, not a major problem. It's spread out among the teams, so it's not any one man. We're actually +1 now, so that's nice to see. But rebounds are level. We're only 3 for 13, but they're only 6 for 24. So the 3-ball has been essentially neutralized by both teams. That's good when you're protecting a 15-point lead, 5 minutes to play, that they're not shooting well beyond the arc. They're not getting the free throw line much. It's all playing into our favor here. We've got a little momentum, though. Go ahead and use a timeout here. Try to take away that momentum. And the lead is now down to 9. 2.5 to play. Down to 7. Just use my last 30-second timeout to try to kill their momentum, and that dunk really does, but it's a 6-point game. Now an 8-point game. Let's slow it down here. 1 minute to play. 5-point lead. Ooh, and we just lost the ball on a turnover, and it's a 2-point game. Timeout, please. Steal, dunk. That could have sealed this game. The miss, the rebound, The foul, 14 seconds, another foul, 1-1, and we miss it. 5 seconds, 2 seconds. Jim Ross played right at the end, but otherwise he sat for a long, long time. He had 3 rebounds in the final moments of that game. Cougar, 2 for 10 shooting. That did not help us. But a lot of guys did well. Justin Smith, 4 for 5. We were well over 50% from the field. Shooting ultimately won this game because they had almost 10 shots more than we did. And they had 5 3-pointers made more than we did. So they certainly made a game of it. It was not an easy victory. It certainly could have been, it should have been, but it wasn't to be. But in the end, we got what matters, which was the W. And we're into the Elite 8 now. Our opponent, Syracuse. Number 1 team in the nation. Only 1 loss, which was in the conference tournament, in their last 15 or so games. So, will this be another Elite 8 elimination? But it's looking pretty likely. But if we win that game, we could be heading right to the Final Four. Well, we would be, wouldn't we? We could be heading to our first national championship if we can knock off Syracuse. But that's going to be really tough. We're going to be, like 9-10% on this game. Let's see what happens in these 3. Florida beats Stanford, the number 10 team in the nation. Duke beating Pittsburgh, and Miami beating Texas Tech. All 3 moving on, still alive. We're down to 5. Down to 5. Cincinnati, the 1 team out, and like I said, that was the most that could still be left at this point. 5 of the Elite 8 are all Conference A opponents. But again, we're going to diminish that number to no more than 4 as we have yet another Conference A matchup. And it's us playing against the best team in the nation. We have an 11% shot. Cougar, the only player advantage. With no seniors, everybody's going to be back. Will this be our final game of the season, or can we finally break the streak of Elite 8 appearances? We've had about 4 Elite 8 appearances now, but we've never gotten further. Tough way to try to break that streak. I think it might take 5 before we're going to see that streak broken. We're going to need a quick start this time. We could not play the way we played in that last game. We had 1 really good stretch. Well, 2. We had 2 really good stretches. One in the first half, one in the second half. Both of them partway into it. Starting about 5 minutes in, running for close to 10 minutes, and then we were bad the rest of the game. So we were good for half the game in terms of minutes, bad for half the game. Can't win that way. Syracuse missed the opening shot of the game, and then we turn it over. Then they turn it over. Both teams with 1 turnover already, and we get the first score of the game. And a 3-pointer there, makes it 5. That was Al Morrison on the 3. Derek Kennedy was the first to score in the game. Syracuse do get their first score, and after a miss there, get a little back and forth. Foul called. Oof, Syracuse get a couple free throws. Another dead ball, missed. Syracuse with the 3 ball, gets their first lead of the game, but we tie the score at 7. The ball around the perimeter, but we're not really able to get anywhere near the key on that one. And eventually Syracuse ends up with the ball. Not sure how they did, but back-to-back scores, and we trail. We were up 7-5, and all of a sudden it was 12-7 them. We're hanging in there, but this was not the quick start that we needed. In fact, we're down 9 all of a sudden. We get the score on that occasion to cut the lead down a little bit. Whew, big 3. Okay, we're back down to 4. I was prepared to use a timeout on a need-to-know basis, but here we are, and we need to know that we've got some momentum, and we're back within 2. It's their quick transition bucket on that one. It's 19 all. Rebound put back, and it's a 2-point lead. Back on top and still have the momentum. Working the ball. Three-point deficit. It's amazing how quick Syracuse can put up points. Their offense is deadly, even though both teams shooting in the 30% range. Free throws, massive deficit right now, even though the fouls, we've only committed one more than them. Three-pointers, we're hurting in that department. Similar attempts, but they've had double the makes that we've had. We try by 6. Momentum's gone, but if they get any at all, I'll use the timeout. Especially as we're down to 2.5 minutes, back within 4 points. Still building some momentum, 2-point game. Rebounds are +6 right now, and we've got a lead. Got it back. Turnovers, +1. Field goal percentage, very similar. That free throw deficit is now positive, as they've had 4 more fouls. And, oof, big 3 right before halftime, but otherwise, that was a really good first half. 36-33. And we are very much in this one as we enter the second half. Not sure how they open with the ball again, but oh yeah. Hello, I know how the rules work in college. Possession arrow. They don't do jump balls. It's not quarters. 7-point deficit here early in the second half. Momentum's not there for them, but we're gonna have to use a timeout soon if we can't get something going. There's a big 3. And we followed up with a nice dunk, and that builds some momentum, and we're down by 5. Now we're down by 3. Long range 2 there. Wish they would have taken that half step back to make it a 3. Free throws cut the lead to 1. And they make 1 score and instantly have momentum. It's amazing that we can score 8 straight points, and yet they get 1 score, and the momentum is theirs. It's the nature of the basket. It was a dunk. Long range 3. And we answer back. And then they score. And then we answer again. And I think that was an and 1 situation. Or it was a foul on a 3 because we cut the lead to 1 from 4. Let's slow it down. 8.5 minutes to go. And we just retook the lead. Rebounding +5. Turnovers is level. Field goal percentage is very much going our way. We're over 40% now. Free throws holding pretty steady. 3-pointers, big advantage for them. They've had twice as many attempts and more than twice as many makes. So not a huge advantage in terms of the percentage, but definitely an advantage of they've had a +6 in terms of points. Well, more than that, really, when it's +6 makes. And the value of each of those is +18. But you kind of get what I'm saying. And the impact of +1 point each time you make a 3 versus us making a 2. Game's tied, 6.5 to play. Foul there, we reset. Work the ball inside, low post. No, we have to kick it back out. Flip it to the other side, we get the 2. Not an easy shot, under pressure. It's a good shot. 3 there is missed. But we turn it over. The outlet pass and a big 3, and that gives Syracuse the momentum and the lead. Foul there. Released a dead ball situation. That time it was a foul. Reset. Oh, we turned it over. Missed 3. Got the rebound. Go to the other end. Chance to take the lead. Working the ball around the perimeter. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Long range 2 is good. And we have the lead. Right now, Kennedy has 14 points. Morrison has 11. A few too many turnovers, though. Ross only 6 points, but he does have 8 rebounds. Cougar has 9 rebounds, so we're strong for those two. Ooh, close range shot from the block is missed, but we get the turnover in the quick transition bucket for a 3-point lead with 3 minutes to play. The foul, though, cuts it down to 1. Free throws hurting us. Work the ball into a decent range, but we kick it out for the long three. No, we get it back inside. Reset to the top. 12 seconds left on the clock. Get it back in there again. This time he takes a shot. Makes a shot. 3-point lead. Looking good. That was Morrison, I think, on that make. They answer right back with a three to tie. And after the miss, with 2 minutes to play, Syracuse has a chance to take the lead. They get it inside. They find the open man. He gets the easy make, and we trail by 2 with 1:49 to play. I still have 3 timeouts. They have 2. It's very important here in the final minute 43. We've got every chance to win this game. Long range 2 to tie the game. So close to the line. Why don't you take those? Inside of the block. Tries to pass to his teammate, but we pick it off. And we get the jumper from the free throw line, and we lead by 2 with a minute to play. Momentum is going our way, but a 3 here would give Syracuse both the momentum and the lead. They work it inside of the block. The foul, the miss. Use the timeout, 44 seconds. Set up a play. Make something happen out of the timeout. Come on, guys. At the elbow. Outside, open 3, but he can't take it. He tries to feed it inside and ends up turning it over. 25 seconds left. Syracuse, get inside of the block. They go for the 3 and miss. Oh, foul. I wanted the timeout on the foul. Not 1-1, and we miss again. We missed them both. We lead by 2 with 7 seconds left. From the elbow, the miss, and we move on. We finally get out of the Elite 8, and we are into the Final Four, upsetting the #1 team in the nation. Syracuse has gone down. Shooting. Defensively, we held them to 31%. Now we have every chance to go on to win our first national championship, potentially here. Huge, huge victory for us. From here, what is going to be next? Well, Final Four, obviously, but who is the matchup going to be with? It's North Carolina State, the #4 team in the country. So one of the 1 seeds has survived North Carolina State. The other side, we'll see. We've got 2 teams left. 3 teams left here. We'll have at least 2 teams in the Final Four. If Florida upsets Wake Forest, then we would have 3 of the 4 teams. The only team outside of Conference A being North Carolina State. Pretty sure that's a Conference B opponent. Find out who our matchup is with. Duke survived, and Wake Forest survives. So 2 Conference A teams are in, but not all 3 that were still eligible. So we dropped from 5 to 2 in the Elite 8 as we get down to the Final Four. And somehow Duke, right, who has struggled and struggled and struggled, is now into the Final Four. Let's see how North Carolina State got here. Quick look at them, and there it is. There's their path. North Carolina State, the 2 seed. They weren't a 1 seed. Wow, Nevada was the 1 seed. Okay. So this was your top, your last 1 seed and your highest 2 seed playing each other. So we've got the highest 2 seed coming up now. We were one of the lower 2 seeds. Actually, probably the lowest because we played Syracuse. So a 2-2 matchup here. But they are definitely going to be the favorite. They're not Conference A, though. We'll see how good they are. Whether they are actually one of the top tier teams when we look at the scouting report here in a moment. But they take care of business against Cornell. And then Georgetown, Arizona, and UNLV. So they did not have to go through Nevada. Nevada went out against Kansas State in the second round. So they actually ended up with a pretty easy path. Pretty easy path to get to the Final Four. But there you go. There's your Final Four. 2 2 seeds, 2 1 seeds surviving to duke it out, and we have our first appearance. This is the deepest we've ever been in the tournament. We've got 29 wins right now with a 29-7 record this season. And we have played relatively well against top 10 opponents this season. Hung in there. Either way, no easy games are left because it's the 4 seed, the 3 seed, and the 2, or rank anyway. 4, 3, and 2 ranked. We're the lowest. That's the 7th ranked team in the nation. All in the Final Four here. So, yikes. But hey, Final Four. Finally did it. It's a big step for us. Big progress. But those Final Four matchups, well, that's going to have to happen in the next episode. That's going to do it for this one. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Be sure to hit that like button for this first ever Final Four appearance. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.